Good morning, class. Reading test for today. Thinking big. Last reading test for the year is your last opportunity to really score big on this one. Good evening, and welcome to our first ever poetry, announced Mrs. Harmon. We're happy to see that so many of our families and friends turned out for this event in support of our local food bank. Olivia sat in the back of the classroom in a row with the other poets. She listened as Mrs. Harmon thanked everyone for bringing cans and boxes of food as their entrance ticket to the slam. Olivia glanced at the shelves and tables. She always thought big. To her, the boxes were grocery warehouse stocked with good things to eat. The cans were colorful barn silos filled with food. Olivia thought back to the day when the class had the idea to support hungry people in their community. They noticed a photo in the local newspaper. The photo showed families receiving bags of groceries from a food bank. There was no article or caption, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. The students could see there was a need, and they were determined to help fill it. It took a while to come up with the perfect way to help. Students thought of raising money by holding a car wash or a walkathon. A baked goods sale and a garage sale were ideas they considered. Olivia suggested soccer games between students and teachers and between other schools in the district. All their ideas were snowflakes melting one by one. Finally, one stuck. They decided to hold a poetry slam. Their ideas were snowflakes. Oh, brother, I hope we recognize what that is. Olivia was brought back to present by Mrs. Harmon's voice. In a poetry slam, poets focus on what they are saying and how they are saying it, she explains. The best part of it is that the audience is free to show the poets how much they like the poems. The poetry slam seemed like a great idea until now. Olivia was nervous, and she could tell her classmates were jittery too. How would the audience react to their poetry? Then Olivia thought big. She whispered in John's ear and said, "Pass it on." When it was time to perform, the poets were ready. John confidently stepped up first. "Share food," and a smiling face. "Our food bank is a caring place." Afterwards, the audience was a pod of seashells. The people were a pod of seashells? That's really weird. A pod of seals clapping for John. Then it was Kenji's turn to perform. "No one should go hungry. This much we know. We fill our food bank. Let's give it a go." Kenji's spunky reading gave the audience a good reason to stomp their feet and snap their fingers. Olivia was last, and she recited from the heart. "A slam each year is not enough. One each month wouldn't be so tough. Poems are fun. Who will write? Will you join the hunger fight?" Oh, what a cool poem. "Bravo! Right on! Yes!" shouted the crowd. Soon 20 people signed up to write and recite poems in the next poetry slam. At the end of the evening, Mrs. Harmon walked up to John. "I noticed Olivia whispered in your ear, and then the poets calmed down. What did she say?" asked Mrs. Harmon. John responded, "Olivia reminded us why we were here. She thought about the big picture." Olivia whispered, "Feed the hungry." What a cool story. And this Olivia, man, she really motivated her friends to be awesome givers and not to be nervous because they were doing a good thing for other people. They couldn't hardly mess it up. Boy, I think we should have a poetry slam at Garden Homes. That'd be pretty cool. Well, let's take a look at our questions. Your answer key should be with you. Remember, all answers go on your answer key. Number 1. It says, what is the theme of this passage? People need to work together. Was the whole thing talking about working together? Eat good foods and stay healthy. Was the whole thing about staying healthy? Stick with a task until you're finished, or you can find a way to help those in need. Read this sentence from the passage. To her, the boxes were grocery warehouses stocked with good things to eat. The author compares the boxes to grocery warehouse because the boxes are warehouses, have lids like roofs, are shaped like cubes, or are places where food is stored. Number 3. Read these sentences from the passage. The photo showed families receiving bags of groceries from the food bank. There was no article or caption, but the picture is worth 1,000 years. What does the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words mean? Do not worry about writing if you can draw? That's not it, guys. That was kind of funny. Instead of talking on the pictures, take a picture. Instead of talking on the phone, take a picture. Use the computer to count the words you are writing, or a picture can show more detail than many words can tell. Number 4. Which text evidence best supports the theme? Poems are fun. Let's give it a go. This much we all know. No one should go hungry. Olivia thinks the poetry slam is loud and noisy, makes everyone nervous, is not as good as a soccer game, is a good way to help those in need. Now remember, hey guys, they were nervous, but that's not what the poetry slam was about, so don't pick B. Alright, 6. Read the following sentence from the passage. All their ideas were snowflakes melting one by one. The use of the metaphor, their ideas were snowflakes melting one by one, the author creates a feeling of anger, of disappointment, of fear, or of happiness. Number 7. Read the following lines of the passage. Poems are fun. Who will write? Will you join the hunger fight? This text evidence supports the theme by telling what happens when you join a fun group, how people can help those in need, how to avoid ever being hungry, or why many people write poems. Number 8. Read this passage from the poem. The cans were colorful barn silos filled with food. Why is the author comparing cans to barn silos? They both hold food. They both have labels. They're both found outdoors. They are both small cylinders. Which test evidence best supports the theme? Olivia glanced at the shelves and tables. How would the audience react to their poetry? The students could see there was a need, and they were determined to help fill it. Good evening, and welcome to our first ever Poetry Slam, announced Mrs. Harmon. And number 10. Read this sentence from the passage. Afterwards, the audience was a pod of seals clapping and clapping for John. The use of the metaphor audience was a pod of seals clapping and clapping for John. The author creates a feeling of hope, failure, sadness, or success. Alright guys, first of our 3 videos for today's reading test. You catch the second one, take a little break and come on back.